So, Guy, how are you and the family, mate? How was your visit home last week?
Ah, mate, yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah, it was nice to see my brother have a little week off. Just kind of get my head right after a little injury. So
Yeah. So, before we get stuck into your rugby story, mate, where was home for you and who lived at home with you as a kid?
as a kid, so I was born in London.
Right.
Um, it's my mum, dad, and three older brothers. Well, and my younger brother as well. You won't like
We can edit that.
that. Nah, he was one. He was one. I was just thinking. um,
So, did that make the house competitive then, mate? Yeah.
at that time, well, not really sure. I was pretty young, but we moved to France when I was 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so my dad found a job in the south of France. Asked my mum if she would want to go, and she said yeah. So the whole family moved out to the south of France near Nice.
Right.
Yeah, we were out there for 6 years, and that I remember it being competitive.
What? Yeah. Imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So,
yeah, trying to keep up, but yeah, it was definitely competitive.
yeah. So, how did rugby come about for you then, mate? And how was you introduced to it?
My dad loves rugby. I
Yeah.
don't think he was any good, but he loved it.
Right. That's what matters, though, isn't it, mate? It's
Yeah, yeah, it is. No, he loved the sport, and well, I started playing when I was 4 years old, so that was at Nice. So I started playing rugby out in France.
right. So I bet that was
Yeah,
a bit of an icebreaker for you, Guy, wasn't it? Because obviously the language would have been a bit of a problem then, mate, wouldn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Language was a massive problem. I had our nan came out with us as well, and she actually used to be a teacher in France, so she would be translating the French coach on the sideline. I'd be 4 or 5 years old.
Just pointing that way.
What's he saying? Pass, run.
Yeah, so your nan was Google Translate before it was about.
Yeah, yeah, she
Yeah.
was.
So with rugby being pretty key to how your life's panning out, mate, how was it at school for you then? Did you initially go to school in France before you come home?
Yes, I went to primary school in France. There was no team there, but for for life there, and rugby was pretty much, yeah, it was an icebreaker. Like, you don't, as much as it was good having my nan translating, you don't really need to speak the language to play. So that was pretty cool. But throughout my life, I think rugby has been the icebreaker. It's been that common ground wherever I've gone. So it's been a huge help.
Yeah. So when did you come home then, mate? And when did you start school back at home?
When I was 10, we moved to Brixham in
Right.
southwest England. My parents are still there now,
Yeah.
but I was in Brixham for 3 years, playing
Right.
for Brixham Rugby Club and Brixham Community College.
Right. And how was that, mate, coming back to a new environment? Is it something you've been able to adapt to better as you got older, or was you quite good as a kid with it?
I think it's something that I got quite good at as a kid. So just going into French classes as the only English person in the school,
Yeah.
I found that like I would just watch and see how things worked, and then I'd kind of jump in on that. So yeah, when I moved back, rugby was what meant that you wherever you go, if you're in a rugby team, you got like that ready, set, made friends. So
Yeah. You,
wherever you go,
yeah.
yeah,
So do you know
no,
what you? Sorry, mate. So just what you just said. You sat back and you sort of soak stuff up a little bit without knowing it, which we'll touch on later. It's probably helped you in your game, hasn't it? You've probably
um,
put that into your rugby as well because you're pretty versatile. You can play anywhere
yeah,
in the time, really, can't you?
yeah, yeah, I can. So, but yeah, I think that's been it as well. Just kind of watching, seeing how the game works, seeing
Yeah.
how people move, seeing how people play. Because you got to work with people, and the better you can work with people, the better chance you'll be, and the more fun you'll have. So it's good. It's yeah, I think it's not how everyone kind of works, but it's how my brain works. and
yeah, and it works.
Still going that way now.
You've done all right, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, how was the transition into coming back and going into high school and stuff, mate? Here, was it pretty easy for you?
So that was actually a bit different. So I was in Brixham until 13, and then I played for Devon under 15s.
Right.
And from there, London Irish wanted me to come and train with the academy, the goal group, the age group stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, I was living 4 hours away, so they wanted to figure out how that would work. One of the coaches at London Irish was a teacher at Wellington College, and he said, "Do you want to try and get a scholarship here? Then I'll be at boarding school, and then obviously I'll be closer to London Irish, so it kind of all fit in if I managed to get it."
Yeah.
And my dad was like, "Not gonna push you into anything, but like if rugby is what you want to do, then this will be probably the best route to go." So I ended up taking it. Yeah, it was a different environment, massive school.
Yeah.
Once again, rugby was how I fit in. So
yeah. Well, that's the beauty, mate. That's the beauty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was you playing under 15s at 13 then, Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that for you? Because it's a big gap when you're growing up, isn't it? Even 1 year is big, but two's is not twice as big. So how did you cope with that?
I mean, it just kind of, having my big brothers running around, it kind of
helps. Yeah.
it kind of helped. But around 13, I grew 4 inches in 2 years. So I probably looked about 15 anyway.
Anyway, yeah. Mate, some of you are blessed, some of us aren't, you know what I mean? So, like you've said, you've gone into it again, you've come back to what we'd class as a normal environment when you're in the general school status, and then you've gone to boarding school. So how did you take that? Was it focused on your rugby and the education topped you up, or was it the other way around?
First of all, I was there in my head. I was there for rugby. I came in the second year,
right?
So the whole year had been in, and 3 of us got brought in just for rugby. We're like, you guys are in to make the team better. So kind of, I'm like, yeah, I've got to be good at rugby then. Yeah, so it was really focused, but they like the academic side, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was a little bit behind, so it made me more well-rounded, I think, because they wouldn't really accept that. I'm like, oh, I'm just here to play rugby. They're like, no, you got to study as well if you're here. So I'm like, okay, these people care. These people care, so I better do some work as well.
Don't realise as a kid, Guy, do you? Like, our priority is just the ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need that type of thing. So did you play club rugby from then, or was it just like college rugby in London Irish?
It was just club rugby, school rugby in London Irish there.
Right.
So I was like on holidays, I'd head back to Devon, or I'd stay at my brother's for the weekend, but I wasn't really, in a way, I wasn't really living in London, so there was no real club rugby.
Right. And how was the standard between the two?
It was huge because people came to Wellington College for rugby from all over the country, and you played against schools from around the country that just brought kids in from everywhere because of rugby. So the standard was it was higher. You're playing against some of the best players from everywhere who are now playing in the Premiership. I remember once a year we play against Sedbergh.
Yeah,
that was a massive game. Huge game. That was always a slog.
So explain the type of schools you're playing against for people that might not know, mate. So really, you just to cap what you've done so far in such a short time is you're playing immediately at elite level, aren't you, for your age group? You've not really dropped below elite level. So all these schools you're playing against, mate, are right up there, aren't they?
Yeah, it's massive. So we're talking school level. I'm playing against Elliot Daly, and all of those guys. So like this is where you are now. You've got clubs looking at you at that age. You've got London Irish, Harlequin, Saracens. That like all those coaches and scouts are just kind of watching, seeing how you're getting on at the weekend.
Yeah.
You're 14, 15, but you're going into London Irish. I got Neil Hatley, who's the academy coach, like asking how the games are going, what's going on, what can I work on. So there's always kind
You're just
of
in the deep end straight away, aren't you?
Yeah.
So as a young lad learning on the job, mate, was it something you took in your stride? And how was it when you first walked through the doors at London Irish? Is it daunting, or are you just keen for the challenge?
I think I've been pretty good at learning on the job. I think it was quite daunting because my brothers were playing at London Irish, so I'd been watching them from 10, 11 years old, and then I got signed out from school, so I was training with them the whole time. Played sevens with them when I was 17. We played Middlesex sevens. Me and one of my schoolmates were in it. We actually won that, and then I was like, got to go back to school in a month. I was like, yeah, it was insane.
Yeah. So again, so you're so focused then, mate. You didn't, because you were in the academy from such a young age. Did you tend to play back three, the odd game at centre, or was you moved about a little bit?
Kind of centre or wing. But then when you get into first team stuff, it's easier to put a player on the wing just to have a look.
Yeah.
So once you're in the middle, there's more talking, more organising. But on the wing, you can kind of you can actually you can wing it. Yeah.
Because I imagine 13 is extremely difficult to defend that, mate.
13, hardest place on the pitch to defend.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to attack. So it's kind of like
the swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
No,
there's so much space.
So what opened your eyes most about academy rugby, mate, and the pathway into professional rugby at the senior level? Was there anything that you really sat back and thought, wow, we weren't expecting this, or was it everything you thought it would be?
It was just really professional. Really organised. Everyone listened. Like, it's just trying to keep control of school kids, like not always easy. But everyone was there was just like a respect. It was when you were there, you knew that you were there to work, and if you didn't work, like they just weren't really having it. So it's kind of
fair enough, right?
Yeah.
So when the loan move comes about, mate, how do you take a loan move? Do you see it as an opportunity, or do you see it as a bit like, am I on the outer?
At 18, 19, you take it as a good opportunity to play.
Yeah. Because
you're waiting for some A-League games there every now and then, but you're also still trying to adjust to playing with adults. Like, you're 18 years old and you got to tell a bloke that's 34 years old with 3 kids to shut up and get in position. This is weird, but I have to do it. Like, that's what someone told me. I was like, all right. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to play and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit harder as you get a bit older.
Yeah, no, well, that's something we'll touch on in a bit, but I can imagine that, mate. So you played representative rugby at age grade levels, mate, didn't you? So how does that process work, and what happens when you get invited and when you meet up? How does that all work, Guy?
So first one was England under 16s A. So that was playing school rugby. You're going about your rugby in your first term, and then you play counties. So I played for Berkshire under 15s, and then from there, Southwest England under 16s, and then you play against the other regions.
Yeah.
And then from there, they'll select a group of players to go on camp.
Right.
So then you got a massive group of players. We had a camp in Gloucester at Hartbury College.
Yeah.
And from there, they split the group into England 16s, England A, and people that just didn't get into either. So I got into England A, which, I mean, at the time I was disappointed about.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I want to be there. So, but it was still a cool experience. We played against USA, I think. That was at Millfield College. But we won it. It's the first time I got to wear the rose. So it was a really proud moment.
Yeah. Do you keep the jersey, mate? Are you sentimental like that? I'd be soft and I'd keep a lot of things. Are you like that?
Yeah. It's somewhere at home.
Yeah. No, it's for when you're done to look back on it. I suppose you take each week as it comes when you're in the thick of it, like you are, mate. But so when you're going in a room with talented lads like your age, and I think you're a bit younger than me, but do you find yourself comparing? Do you help each other out, or is it a bit competitive where they just look after themselves? Is it?
At that age, it's really quite competitive.
Yeah.
It's about you. Yeah.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, people, like, you help each other. But at that age, you're like, oh, I need to do what I can to help myself to get into this team.
Yeah.
But as you get older, your teammates give you advice. You talk about your opposite man or anything else, give you tips, and you kind of you learn to work with each other because you know that it's better for the team.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. And what type of player was you as a young lad? Was you a nervy player, or was everything just took in your stride? Because you're quite a laid-back guy. Yeah.
I've got that everywhere I've gone. I still get it now. I promise I do care. I'm just, like I said, just observe it first. But once I'm in and I know my environment, then I'm good to go.
Right.
Just kind of go about my business, and eventually I'll get a big moment. They'll be like, oh, he's quiet, that he can play. I'm like, yeah.
He actually wants to be here.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? It's cliched, mate, but if you trust in what you're doing through the week, it'll all come good on the weekend or game day, won't it, mate? So it's understandable. It's just some people spew, some people need the toilet, some people are quite relaxed like you. It's just how it is, isn't it? So when you step up, did it go 16s to 18s, guy?
So I didn't get any call for 18s.
Right.
That was tough.
Yeah.
Because my mates who I played like 16s with got the call, and then the school are like, oh my god, well done to so and so doing this, and kind of like I'm like, I'm one of those people here to play rugby, but so, oh, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. So
Did you get feedback at outdoor?
No.
Oh, okay. That's probably a bit worse, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a bit quiet. It's kind of a case of no news. No news is bad news.
Yeah, for the change. Right, so then obviously 18s goes into 20s, mate, and you made the 20s, didn't you?
Yeah, 20s. 20s. I'm back in playing A-League, training well, and it's weird because I don't think even my academy coach at the time was expecting me to get in, because they're actually gonna send me to New Zealand to play for a little bit for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna go to New Zealand, play for 6 months, kind of go on a journey and grow up and become a man, like. As they were sorting it out, I actually got announced in the 20 squad for the Six Nations in February. So it was kind of like, oh, well, we can't send you because you need to play.
No, that's that. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of like, nah, not done. Still here. I found it quite funny.
Yeah.
But no, it was good.
How would you have felt if that call hadn't come? Would you have felt that the England chances were probably gone, would you?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I would have been on the other side of the world. I was
That's it. Just loving life, yeah. And to say you'd have come home, I suppose, if it went how you wanted it to go, isn't it?
I would have come back and hopefully they would have been happy with what I learned. So it would have been one of those.
Oh, that's it. Because it's, for people that might not know, I think Harlequin done it with Joe Marchant, didn't he? He went out and played for the Blues on a bit of a sabbatical and come back, didn't he? And it worked. But so now you're playing the A-League regular, you're making the England teams. Are them loan moves becoming harder to do? Do you feel you're due an opportunity because you're hitting all the milestones to warrant a chance in fans' eyes, aren't you?
Yeah. So in February I made my debut against Wales, and then against Italy got a start, and I actually broke my hand in that game. So I missed the rest of the Six Nations and a little bit of the season.
Yeah.
So I didn't really play, but I was back for the World Cup in Italy. So I went to the 20s World Cup.
And how was that?
That was cool. That was 3 weeks just kind of living in a hotel. It's just you're reviewing games every couple of days. Group stages, and then we had quarterfinals against France. Got a start against them. That was cool. Off the bench against South Africa in the semis. Tight game, but then didn't make the squad for the final against New Zealand.
You were there though, mate, and no one can take them memories from your either, can they, in the achievement? So it'll always be next to your name. So do you know, when you're in them big tournaments, mate, how do you go about recovery and getting proper training in? Because they don't give you the allowance, really, do they?
It's a tight ship. Everything, every single minute is organised. They've got it down to the T. You had your pool recovery. You had your light session after a game. You had your main session, team run. Everything was done. You had your video analysis on every single player. I remember they had the players take meetings, so they would get two players to actually do the preview before the game. So it just made sure you were switched on, you were ready, everyone was doing their bit. So it was really well set up.
That's it, because when you're under the pump, mate, you're under a bit of pressure or you're under your own sticks, it's player-led that needs to get you out the rut, isn't it? They can't come on and do it for you, so you've got to learn it somewhere, haven't you? Yeah. So what happened when you come back from that World Cup then, mate? Was there a long move back on the go for you?
I've come back. I actually went on loan to London Welsh that season, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's where I was playing my rugby.
Yeah. How was that?
Yeah, but it was good fun because we had a good academy, and they would send us over in fives or sixes. So like we just appear play, and it was just down the road. So no one felt like they were getting sent away. It's kind of enjoy yourself, play some rugby, come back. But it was good. It was good fun.
So what are the loan moves like compared to in rugby league? So would you train with your parent club, do a captain's run and play?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
Midweek, if you're not involved.
Yeah.
All right, guy, you're at Welsh this weekend. Sweet. Where do I need to be? You got training this afternoon. All right, cheers.
All right, so it's just literally like that. You're on your bike.
You got training this afternoon. Don't be late.
Right, fair enough. So on the back of these moves, mate, how did Toulon come about?
Coming at the end of my 2 years, with what you were saying, like you're hitting all the things with England 20s and everything else, thinking you should be playing.
Yeah.
I just kind of a bit frustrated. I wasn't playing because I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted a chance. And Toulon approached me to sign for their academy. So it's a bit different in France. It's up to under 23s.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really know at the time. I was just really excited about the move. Yeah, I just had an offer and I was like, what is happening? Yeah. 3-year deal. I was like, yeah, sweet. I hadn't even spoken to London Irish. I was like, I think I'm gone.
Yeah, no, that's it, isn't it? It's a business. You're looking after yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
So with the academy systems here and maybe in France, is there an allowance of how many older players can play a guy? a bit like there is here, isn't there?
So in France, I think you can have 2 or 3 first team players play who are like need game time or coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it rubbing shoulders with them? It's like home from home, France, I suppose now, mate, isn't it? It's your second home. Was it slotting back in, and were the lads there at the time? Your brothers were there as well, was they?
So Stefan signed the year before, and I went with Dylan that year.
Right, so it's a bit easier.
2012. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, bit easier. But no, it was cool. It was really cool with the players around. It was kind of surreal to think about it.
I can imagine. It's like, do you remember when we're all in school and you do your little dream team on the back? It's how it was at your gaff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
So how was the 23s rugby there, mate? Compared to back home and maybe even international, how was it?
So in a way, it was probably a little bit easier. I only played a couple of warm-up games, but it was a bit easier because we were playing A-League, which is against like any first team player that wasn't playing. But here you're going back to playing with like people your own age.
Yeah.
But I trained the whole summer with the first team, and felt good. Did a couple of sessions with the under-23s, the Espoir, and I was like, kind of want to be playing first team.
Yeah.
I could kind of see why I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wanted to. There were three warm-up games that in pre-season, and I thought I might be involved in one of them, but I wasn't. And I was like, oh, what have I done?
Yeah, well, that's it. You get a little bit of a field guide, don't you? And what's the communication like over there as well with coaches and players? Is it as clear as like it is at home, or?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
you just if you need anything in honesty, you could just go and get it, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're not playing because these guys are playing. I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. So how did the loan move come about, and who's representing you, mate? If you had to get an agent at this point, or can you rep yourself? Your dad repping you?
I had an agent. So my brothers, I think I just had the same agent as Stefan at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just kind of, I mean, that was the first deal they gave me, just to move to Toulon. I was like, right, yeah. But, yeah.
Okay.
Rugby's good, yeah.
Yeah.
So when do we leave?
Yeah, that's it, innit? So how long did it take for London Irish to pop back in for you and try and turn your head?
Around the time I was thinking, what have I done?
Was it?
Yeah.
Right.
This is in around September.
Yeah. So it's quite early.
Quite early on, but early enough to know that I probably wasn't going to play unless something happened.
Yeah.
So a few injuries.
You've been around big environments long enough to know that if something's not looking right, you sort of feel it before you see it, don't you? And
yeah.
Good on you. So what persuading did it take, Guy? Much or? Brian
Smith called me out the blue. I'm talking like phone's ringing. I'm like, I swear I left the club. He's phoned me and he's just gone, yeah, how's it going? This and that. And then he was like, do you fancy coming back on loan? I was like, oh, all right, well, this is kind of what I wanted, but before I left.
Yeah.
2 centres left, 2 got injured. They had a winger playing at centre and a fly half. So like everyone that was ahead of me all of a sudden were gone.
Yeah.
He's like, have you got any questions? I was like, am I going to play? This was on Thursday. He went, yeah. I was like, all right, I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, that quick.
I was just gone within days. I think I was a bit homesick, wasn't playing. Had a chance to go back, go back to what I knew and a chance to play. And yeah, I was gone.
Right, well, look, you give it a go, mate, didn't you? You can always put yourself out there. No regret there because you tried. So how did the spell back go, mate? Talk us through some of them early days and your game times and that.
A few weeks just to kind of get the calls in and everything else. Then I just started the whole season. 23 games. Might just, yeah, it was a dream.
Like you said, that's what after, isn't it?
Every week, yeah. Nah, it was awesome. I was actually, playing every week, starting shit. I loved it.
And that's what all them sacrifices were for your school and that for, weren't they, to give yourself that opportunity, mate?
Yeah.
So do you think a little bit on their behalf it was don't realise what you've got till it's gone, maybe?
But then the opportunity wasn't there when I was there. So it was...
Get that, but your versatility and your ability, really. But it's like we said, you've just said it yourself, if the opportunity weren't there, you've got to go and say it once somewhere else. I mean, yeah.
And if someone says, can you play there, then you should probably just say yes.
Yeah. Not the front row, but I'll play anywhere else.
Yeah. Go pick it up, learn on the job.
So just before we carry on with your union side of your career, mate, had rugby league ever crossed your path at this point?
No, nothing at all. No coaches, no players. Well, a couple of players. Seta Matasal was at London Irish and Champagne Harpe. Yeah,
because Seta Matter actually signed for where I'm from then.
Yeah,
he come up to witness, and Champagne Happy had done big things, hadn't he? So
yeah,
so you'd been around the rugby league sort of people, but no approaches had come in.
I just knew they hit hard.
They are.
I knew they hit differently. That's all I knew.
But what did them sort of characters bring to Union? Did you find they brought a different perspective, or was they picking your brain for tips as well?
Not my brain personally, but they were just, first of all, they were just good blokes. They were good blokes, but they brought an energy about them. Like I'm pretty sure they both became like defensive leaders. Kind of, as you'd expect, bring line speed, hit people, lead the line, communicate. Like they just had something about them. Like it just brought a different aspect to the team with obviously their different path. It was good because obviously coaches were learning off them and everything else. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good man. So you go back to London Welsh. How did this come about and how did that spell go? So
London Irish actually bought out the rest of my 3 years from Toulon, so I ended up staying there. But the season after, second game of the season, I broke my wrist.
Right.
This is in September. Come back for a few games, all going well. In January, I end up tearing the meniscus in my knee, so I have a knee operation, which didn't really heal that well.
Right.
And they actually had to go back in and operate 6 months later. So it took out a way bigger chunk than I hoped for. Looking back, I didn't really take that injury spell too well. I was kind of eating a lot, drinking, no idea, because like up until that point, metabolism was fine. I was like, whatever. Wasn't training the same. I actually went up to 120 kilos. I'm 102 now.
Okay.
So like my weight went way up. And had conditioner stuff going like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Really, really strong. I don't know how I got here. This is where we're at. So I'm 120 kilos playing on the wing. Just kind of. And when it came to at the end of the 3 years, they're just kind of like, we're not going to re-sign you. They just kind of said we've not seen enough over the last couple of seasons. And I think with my shape and everything else, I'd kind of probably changed as a player as well. So I kind of, it's the first time I was kind of out. I didn't have a contract anywhere. So I think it's the first time I put my agent to work. Looked around and I was, up until that point, I was hopeful, of the Toulon situation. I was like, this is how rugby works. It's not how rugby works.
It's difficult, isn't it?
It was hard. Didn't know where I was going to go, where I was going to live. I probably would have moved back with my parents, but my agent was kind of like, you're going to have to take a pay cut, but London Welsh were interested in you. And I was like, sweet, familiar place.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I live in London for that money? That's kind of what it came down to. And then I was like, all right, I was like, yeah, I can do it. Just have a good year and just go from there. I got there. It's kind of, what was it, the day before, just before I got there, I got told that there was an injury clause in my contract that said if I get injured in pre-season, then like my contract's null and void. I was a bit like, I was in Italy with my missus and I was like, yeah, it's got. I was like, yeah, I don't really have a choice now. We're going in tomorrow.
That's crazy, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a shock, but like kind of put my head down. Had a conditioner. It was very good, actually, really good. He got me to lose like 16 kilos in 2 months. Just had me swimming in the mornings. He was like, if it hurts, don't do it. Like, he just kind of listened and took care of me. I was like, sweet. So by the start of the season, I was back at like 105. And I was like, ready to go.
Yeah.
First game of the season, still not sure if I've got a contract. The boys are asking me if I've like re-signed or anything. I was like, I have no idea.
It's mad. It's just crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. Played against Doncaster away, first game of the season. Scored a hat trick. We won. I was like, this went as well as it could have.
10 years, £1 million a year.
Nah, Thursday week after. Your contract time, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Yeah.
Madness. So, before this spell, how had you been with injuries? Because you were drastically unlucky at the back end of that under Irish spell with them, weren't you?
Yeah. Before that, I was made of rubber. I was just a kid.
Bounce back ability.
Yeah. Kids don't get hurt. They just kind of, sweet.
So was that your first stop as well, Guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah. That was tough. Like, yeah, I really didn't cope with that well. Like, I just, didn't really speak to anyone. Just kind of injured, had rehab, and like looking back, I actually don't know how I put on that much weight so quickly. Like, it was, they must have looked at me. If someone did that now at a club, I'd be like, someone needs to speak to them.
Yeah.
Someone needs to speak to them. But I literally had no idea. Like, I was just in my world going, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So now you're flying with London Welsh. What was your thought process? Did you see it as a shop window for you, basically? I don't want to put words in your mouth, sorry, that's not what I'm trying to do, but did you see it as an opportunity to put yourself out there?
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I think some people might admit it, but if you go down from a Premiership club into the Championship, I'm pretty sure any player that's done that has thought, if I have one good season in the Champ, get back out. You got one season to go in and out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, otherwise you're in.
Yeah, you're not out sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not televised. It's not anything else. You got one season to just kind of go, look, I'm a Premiership player playing in the Championship, and then you got to try and get back out. It's a high-pressured situation.
No, I can imagine that. Not knowing anyone to have been in that situation, that's how I'd see it.
That's what it is.
And through that year, are people putting feelers out to you, or?
It's just head down. But I ended up played 30 games. I didn't miss a game. Played 30 games. Feeling good, great team environment. I was flying. Got Players Player, which is the dream award. Like that's the one that matters.
Yeah. And where did you play most of your rugby there? Was it 13 or on the wing?
13.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you reckon, without knowing it, it was probably a blessing in disguise that year in the Champ then?
Oh yeah. Even like up to now, it's like yeah, definitely.
Rugby probably, yeah.
Some of my best rugby. My head was right.
Yeah.
Coach is happy with me.
Body
Great
help.
group of lads.
Yeah.
I was flying.
Happy days, mate. So how did the move to Wasps happen then? And
Well, I was playing well, and they were the first club that kind of spoke to me. But they were also, if someone were to ask me where do you want to go, any club in the Premiership, I'd have been, I want to go to Wasps. Like that's where I want to go. Like play great rugby, great players. That's the kind of that's where I want to go.
bit of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called. I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Right. And do you know, I'm not asking for numbers by no means, mate. It's no one's business. But how did them sort of talks happen? And did he take weeks, or can it be a matter of it can be done and dusted in a day and both parties are happy? Does it very much depend on all parties coming together and sort of having a mutual agreement somewhere?
Yeah, pretty much. Like they'll go with what you're on, what you think you could be on, players in similar positions. And you've also got players in different price brackets. So like you've got your superstars, you've got guys in the middle, and then you've got guys that are kind of on contracts they really should not be on.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a weird situation. And like, but you can live with 4 other players, so it's fine.
Right, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking into certain monies.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, it can be done really quickly.
Yeah, right. Because again, fans think everyone's after the money. You're not too bothered about winning games, which is not right. No one plays to not win a game, did he? No. Don't get me wrong. When we're younger, mate, probably up until you're 12, I'd say you're probably just happy being with your mates and playing, aren't you? Once it gets a bit above that and maybe a little bit below it, without parents, fans mourning, it is about winning. Even if you don't play too well, the result's key, isn't it? It's
about winning. Like players hate losing, but they also love winning. Like it doesn't matter if we went to play darts or went bowling. I'm going there for the win, and I'd be annoyed if I lose. It doesn't.
With tick and passing training, if you don't win your tick and passing training, you're fuming, aren't you? It's
crossbar challenge, going for the win. Doesn't matter what it is, how big or how small. If it's a game, then you 100% want to win.
Yeah. And how are you finding? Because without being rude, you're probably obviously one of the better players at London Welsh. You're probably setting the standards of training, I'd say. So with professionalism, with rehab, with fitness, with timings, the daft stuff, what you're wearing, it all collaborates to a culture, doesn't it? Which you're hoping people buy in. So I was going back to the Premiership in that sort of thing.
Weird thing about Welsh that year is that they got relegated, and there was a few players in my position. So it was a lot of like Premiership players that were kind of put together, and you're like, this could work or it could go horribly wrong.
It could be volatile.
Yeah. If everyone thinks they're too good to be here, then it could go horribly wrong. Luckily, like that wasn't the case, but that's the kind of gamble you're taking if you do that.
Yeah. And then how's that step up going back into not only the elite level, but a club that competes on all fronts, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's team meetings, everything else. Pre-season, it's just like it's a step up.
Yeah.
The players you've got fitness with and skills, like everything's just it's an elite standard. Like if you drop a ball in a session, you're one of 2 drop balls in that session. Like that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If a ball went down, they're asking, why has this ball gone down? You're like, sorry. I'll be better.
That's it for like the listeners or the watchers. The little difference that just sprung to my mind straight away would be not having to break stride for a pass, not having to reach to your side. It's just that you're on the money. That's how I imagine Premiership training from the bottom place to the champions is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were you on this move? Half a step off, the gap's gone.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of that where were you? You need to be there. Yeah. If not, swap in.
Yeah, pretty ruthless.
Timing was off. someone else gets a shot. You're like, yeah,
I mean,
no.
120k is going in, no, was you?
No, never again. Never again.
So, how was that spell, mate? Talk to me about how it all went and how you found it. That was pretty tough. So the championship season finished in April and pre-season started in July. Right.
So as much as I did all the run I want, if you give a player 12 weeks off, it takes some time to get back in.
Yeah.
12 weeks is unheard of, but yeah, it doesn't happen. It's just, it happened to be the gap.
Right.
I think I must have picked up an injury in pre-season a few weeks in. And then from that point, I was kind of on the back foot.
Yeah.
You're chasing, because once you're in games, once you're in season, then there's no experimenting going on. There's no, let's see if that works. We're going to go with what works. This is the business of winning. Yeah.
And it's sort of, I feel, and I just watch now, but it's a rapid season as well, isn't it? The weeks come thick and fast, and then you're in European Cups, Six Nations coming, the autumn series coming, people are out, people are in, and what was the Premiership Cup when you were playing? So you'd have had the Premiership Cup as well, wouldn't you? And
yeah,
that was probably, if you're out the team, you win the win, isn't it? If you're impress enough,
and
around then, right? Yeah. So, them little niggles, mate. Did you find them easy to brush off, the little injuries and that, or
no? Because I was making good progress, and when they came about, they started to weigh on me. I struggle with those.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time I moved away from my family and friends, because the club moved to Coventry. So like the whole squad moved away from family and friends. Right. So the first season was a bit weird because no one was settled and showing you around.
Yeah. It
was a case of everyone trying to find their feet. But I was living in a 1-bed flat, and I was kind of like, this is me now. And once you're not playing rugby, then you get in a weird mindset, because I'm like, I'm a rugby player and I'm not playing rugby, so I'm like probably just going to avoid my friends and family for a little bit. But then that gets a little bit too much. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the people around the club that reach out to you when you're in them tricky moments of a spell at the club, or are you sort of left to deal with it on your own because you're adulting?
It's hard because like I was really good at hiding it, and I'm pretty sure loads of other players are good at hiding it. How are you? Yeah, good, mate. You? Done. Brushed off. Nothing wrong. Like, if you do that enough times, before you know it, you're back at home, but really you feel horrible.
Yeah.
It was actually someone from the RPA. We had a welfare officer that just kind of dropped by, like kind of friendly blokes that just kind of asked how your day's going. But he asked how I was before a team meeting, and I don't know what it was about a day. He was like, how are you? And I literally just burst into tears.
Right.
Like, it was 5 minutes before a team meeting. He's like, don't worry about that. Like, speak to me. Then I just kind of missed team meeting and spoke to him. And it was the first time I opened up. I was like, this is a bit weird. I was like, wow, I'm actually telling you how I feel instead of, yeah, good. Which I had done all that day to all of my teammates.
Right.
But he just kind of took the time to speak to me, but I also let him know that I wasn't okay. So it's the two-way street. Like,
you
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure other boys would have helped if I let them know, but I didn't, because I didn't want to be, don't want to bring the mood down on the lads. So I'm just going to hold all of this in.
And you wouldn't know what he's feeling sorry for himself or this and that. And to be honest, when people ask you, I don't want to speak for other people, but they probably don't want the truth. So they want you to say, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm probably guilty of it. I ask someone if they're all right. And if they were to tell me they weren't, I wouldn't know how to respond.
Yeah.
Because it'd shock me.
Yeah. It would shock you, but it would. You wouldn't even need to do much. You just have to listen. Yeah. You just oh mate, that's tough, but like, I'm glad you told me, and like, you feel better after that. I don't know. I felt better after just. I'm pretty sure the bloke didn't even say anything. he kind of just reassured me that
you'll be all right.
Really wasn't that bad. Like, yeah, but just letting it out meant that it was out, and I wasn't alone. It was weird. But then players all yeah. The players don't want to ask sometimes, but I'm sure they'd be like, oh, I don't want to get caught up in that.
No, it's probably true, isn't it? Yeah, they worry about saving face sort of thing, and
yeah.
No, good on you.
It's an odd one, and you don't want to be seen as mentally weak, which is like it's better now. Like I've told the coaches here when I'm feeling off, I'm like, it's not in the club, like I'll be sweet, but I'm just like mentally not okay at the moment. But before I would have just hidden it.
Right.
And they were like, look, I understand. I was like, because if I'm feeling good, I'll play my best rugby. So it's a win. It's a win-win. If I'm in a good headspace, then I'm gonna do my best for the team.
That's it. And if you're being honest, mate, you can't fault honesty, can you? And it's like you said, and that it sounds like that was a big lesson for you as well, Guy. That just being able to speak to someone, and it's something you've carried through with, which hopefully helps you and prolongs your career as well. Because without people knowing, they could probably judge you and say he's not happy here or he doesn't want to play here. And obviously they'll know what you're about now because you're pretty open with them. Yeah.
I mean, at the time at Wash, like, I think I must have played like 11 games over the 2 years.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I remember like not liking rugby. Just like injuries, not getting selected. Like it was just, I don't like rugby, but I love rugby. It's just where I was at the time.
Yeah, in a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Where I was at the time, which was tough.
Right. No. So the next move, mate, is something that we'll touch on what come about on the back of it later on, but it's something that sort of guided your career a different avenue, hasn't it? Even though you've stayed in the same club for now, it's opened your door because your move was to Wheeling and they had their grand year with the London Broncos, didn't they? So talk to us about how Wheeling come about. Was anyone else interested? And then we'll touch on the London stuff.
From West, I was just frustrated. Like, I just wanted to play. There was talk. I spoke to Ealing the season before about going on loan, but they knew they were going to finish second, and it just didn't make sense for them to pay for me to finish second. Like it was the season was done. It just didn't make sense.
Right.
So when it came about the year after, I was like, yeah, sweet, good to go. So I signed for them for that year, and it was good.
Is it reassuring signing for someone that's shown previous interest? Or does that not really matter to you?
It can do, because you know that they're interested. So it's not what
and
am I doing here?
Interest as well, isn't it? If they've stuck around.
Yeah, so it's something I thought about doing for a few months at this point. And if it's still there, then I'm like, yeah, I still want to go, and you still want me. So yeah, I'll be there.
Right. And how do you find the 4G pitch, whatever people want to call it? How do you find them fake pitches?
Oh, they're tough. They're tough. Oh, friction burns, open knees. They just open the whole season. The whole season, just like just like struggling to put jeans on, trousers, anything. It's just, oh my god. Yeah. Right. You feel it in your knees.
Mate, innit? Well, you weren't allowed the leg then, was you?
No, it's not. You're like, oh my god. It's cool because it's not boggy, but there's a trade-off here.
Well, the bounce of the ball's a bit wicked, I found as well, isn't it? It's not a natural bounce. Yeah.
It's like kicking a ball in the car park.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's not like a natural bounce. But how did the spell go? And with London being sorry to interrupt you, mate, was there ever a crossover or like a hybrid training or anything? Did you work together or?
No, not really. A couple of the boys knew a couple of the league players, so they had a chat. But it was there, and we would obviously organise training around each other. So see their pre-seasons and like just watch them run shape and everything else. At the time, not that much understanding, but like it was a year of just kind of watching rugby league in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did it open your eyes to moves or shape, or was it expected? Did it not shock you really?
I think it was like the moves and everything else didn't really shock me because league players had brought them over to rugby union, so we used them in our back strike plays and everything else.
Okay.
And Carl Eastman was at WAS when I was, and he was just a man full of knowledge.
Mate, I've heard of a few guests. He is just a born rugby player.
He's honestly, the way his mind works and the way he spoke about rugby league when I was there, he was just like just counting numbers. If someone does this, someone does that, this is what you play. And every time when he played into the line, he'd play it in your face, and you'd be like, "Wow, there's nothing I can do there." He's just running perfectly. He did actually ask me if I'd ever considered playing league, and at the time, still no.
Yeah.
I still no door to take to play league, but I was like, considered it, but like I don't know when or where, but I have. He was like, I think you'd be all right. I was like,
thank you.
I was like, cool.
So how did the year at Ealing go, mate? How was that?
Started well. Good pre-season. Up until December time, we had a cup competition for 4 weeks. So that's when you kind of rest some players and everything else. Problem with that is if the person that comes in for you plays well, all of a sudden you're on the back foot. I'm like, you said I was being rested. But then I can't blame the player for taking his opportunity. I was kind of like,
No, that's the risk, isn't it?
You're kind of like, I don't want to be rested. Play me the whole season. Yeah. But
when you were in that situation, mate, would you pop your head in the office and say, "Boss, can I have a chat?" And
yeah.
Right.
Have a chat with them every now and then. Work on this, work on that, and then cool. And then I'll just work on that in training. Came back in for a game in December, and for whatever reason, my body got injured again. And they didn't really know what was wrong with me. It should have just been a simple calf injury, but it was neural and it was stuff that I didn't know was a thing. And I actually didn't play again after December 1st. I was out for this season.
Right.
I had an epidural, what pregnant women get to give that. Yeah. And that was at the very end of the season. And the season just kind of got away from me. Hadn't really played. Yeah. And when you're speaking to other clubs, you're like, well, you're not really played. You got any games after this? I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, you're on the back foot chat-wise, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, how did London come into the process?
London actually didn't come in then. Ealing weren't re-signing me. Then I didn't really know where I was going. So I actually moved out, and Doncaster Knights spoke to me and offered me 2 years. I was like, yeah, cool. And then Lee Radford at LFC called me out of the blue.
Right.
I'm talking walking back from the train station, random number. Yeah, I'm not going to pick that up.
Another random number that I'd have thought I'd like you.
I'm like, nah. Left a voice note. And that's when you know it's serious. So someone misses a call and then leaves a voice, I'm like, there's something.
Right.
It's like, Paul Cook at Doncaster Knights said that you're looking for a contract, whatever else. We just thought it'll be worth kind of giving you a shot. Would you want to come on trial for a couple of weeks? So I had a little Google.
Oh,
I was like,
rugby league.
Google.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this man giving me opportunities? I'm like, you get around the corner. I'm like, has someone having me on?
Yeah.
I give it up. I'm like, spoke to my dad. I'm like, it's actually him.
It's a real fella.
Yeah, it's a real bloke and a real number and a real opportunity. And my dad's like, that's pretty exciting. I don't know what you're thinking, but it'd be worth giving it a go.
Yeah.
So I went on trial in Hull for 2 weeks, and my missus moved in with my parents for what we thought would be 2 weeks, ended up being 3 months. It was at the end of the 2 weeks, I played one game for the reserves against Fev Reserves. That was my first game of league.
Right.
Yeah. Got to Hull on Tuesday. They're like, you're going to play in a reserve game. Had one team run, and I was in.
Was you?
Yeah. No, told me I'd play the ball, no nothing. I was just like, right, what do I need to know here? I learned my winger's name, my half and back row's name. And I was like, if I just work with these guys, it should be sweet. And that's all I did. I didn't worry about anyone else on the other side of the pitch.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, speak to these blokes, and I'll be sweet. Winger I still speak to now, Charlie Graham. I'm like, yeah. I'll work with you, you work with me, and we'll be good.
Yeah. No, but that goes right back to what I said at the start. You've sat back. Even though your rugby league's not your background, it isn't the game you were brought up with. You've understood the core principles and the people that you need around you. So straight away, you wanted to know who your back rower is, second row for listeners and watchers.
Yeah.
You wanted to know who your half would be on your side of the field, and you've got to know your winger pretty well early doors. There isn't a lot more, mate.
No, but at the time I was like, what do I need in this game? I was like, I need these guys. So, like, don't worry about anyone else. These are the people I need to go. But we lost. I scored a couple of tries, so it went well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy days.
I played well. I was playing for a contract. I was just like,
yeah, that's it.
That's what it was.
Right. Did you have to use them or anything before it to see little tricks, or because I've no doubt you had the back door pass in you.
Yeah.
But your footwork that you'd need in the centre in rugby league would be a lot different to 13 in rugby union, wouldn't it? Because of the space.
Growing up, I followed players of footwork. So when you have your drills and training, playing touch, I've always loved a step of any sort. Square him up and go. That's
it. Yeah, that's exactly. Because I watch people with footwork, mate, but he ain't got any. So don't just say it like it's dead easy.
I'd square him up, go. I just told my winger, I was like, right, I'm going to get to the winger. Just expect the ball. I'm gonna just chuck it. Like, tackle won't be finished. Yeah, I was like, just expect the ball. Like, as long as it doesn't just hit you in the face, expect it. And like off he went. I was like, good. The understanding there. Yeah.
How do you still find now? How do you find centres and back rowers defend in rugby league compared to rugby union?
Like it's just more aggressive. Like the way it plays, it's just more aggressive. You need your second row and your half to come up. Otherwise, it puts you in a difficult position. You can't just be flying out in front. Yeah. If you do, you better make the hit, and it'll probably make a highlight reel. But
it might reel the other way as well, might it?
Yeah. The life's a lot easier when you got the guys inside you coming up, because it means that you're a lot closer when you've got to make a decision on whether you're going to hit the centre or the fullback coming out the back. So this is all, like, just speaking to you now, this is stuff I realise I now know. Like,
that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I'm taking stuff up. Like,
might be, yeah. But I think you're quite lucky, because I grew up playing against Andy Dixon.
Yeah.
So I know what Andy was about, and then you've got Harrison Hansen can play front row, second row, can't he? He's a tough bloke. So your middle men are not scared of defending, mate, are they? They've got it in them. So again, it's building that rapport, relationship, understanding with them, isn't it? Learning the little things that they do that'll help you, and vice versa.
Yeah. Honestly, the better you know the people next to you, the easier life will be. It's just like, it's easy as that.
So what come on the back of that trial, and how many games did you play in that trial?
Reserve game, and then the week after I actually ended up going for a game with Doncaster. That was
playing rugby union or rugby league?
No, still rugby league. I was still on trial at Hull, but at 2 weeks they've learned more if I was playing than anything else.
Correct.
Nothing can actually played. I ended up playing wing that game.
Yeah.
That was a different one because wingers just have to call every tackle, and you've got to watch out for 40-20s and everything else. That was a bit on edge. Yeah. Life is, things are a bit different there.
So do you think that's a good introduction into the rugby union then, the 50-22? Is that something you'd have encouraged now you played rugby league if they didn't already do it?
Yeah, I reckon so. Because as a winger, if you didn't have to worry about 50-22, you'd probably just sit in the line and let your fullback cover it.
Yeah, no, you would, of course you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's fine. If they kick it in touch, then we just get the ball back.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a good introduction. Definitely it gives more space.
Yeah, and it gives because really a lot of teams are doing it attackively now, but back when we were probably playing a bit more, you'd only really get rid of the ball if you were going backwards, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So it stops the negative clearance, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after your trial, then, mate, was there a sit down with Hull and?
Had an honest chat with Lee Radford. I was literally just waiting around in a hotel room at the time.
Yeah.
And he went, mate, to be honest, I can't promise you game time, and that's what you need to learn the game. Because that week they signed Mahe Fanua and Adam Swift. And I was like, direct competition. Like, it was, they were like, he became available. I had to sign him. And I was like, I understand. It's like, I can't promise you game time, and I don't want you to just kind of like sit around here not playing. But he's like, I know Danny Ward down at London Broncos, and I think that there might be something there if you'd be willing to go on trial. So I said yes, and ended up living in my brother's spare room in London, and I went on trial there for what was 6 weeks. Yeah, so 6 weeks. So there was like 2-3 weeks where they had to like sort all of that out. So I was just at home with my parents, kind of just getting my head around everything. Right. Then went up to London on trial, and ended up going on loan for Scholars against Doncaster Knights. Scored a hat trick. I was like,
I'm still about. Yeah.
I was like, all right, we're still on the right track. Yeah. Scored a hat trick. This is after a month of what was a pre-season, basically. It was hell. I was running Broncos every week. It was an experience, but I was ready. Ready. Played a game on loan for Scholars, and then week after I was in the 21-man squad for Dragons away. It was a 4-day trip. I think it was mostly just to get to know all the lads. It was the best way to get to know everyone. Go on a trip together.
That's sweet. Goes on that, isn't it?
Yeah. One of the boys' passports was too damaged, which we found hilarious at the time. And they're like, no, seriously, you're not coming in. She's like, she put her finger under like the laminated bit. She was like, this could be anyone. And we were like, oh my God, he's really not coming.
Yeah.
Like luggage and everything else already on the plane. Had to like I don't know how we got home. But we had to get like a 2-hour taxi home or something. but yeah, he ended up not going. Had team run next day, a couple of days later, and Danny was like, I'm gonna put you on the bench, so you're gonna make your debut. And I was like, oh, okay, Super League debut. Yeah, so all of a sudden I was just kind of just being there. All of a sudden I was in the mix. So yeah, I was on the bench, came on with 25 minutes to go, and the game looked nothing like training. Everyone was knackered. It was 30 odd degrees. I came on at right centre. My first carry was on the left edge. I was carrying up the middle. Because I was the only one that could breathe, they're like, guys, this is yours. This is yours. But no, they played unbelievably, played their hearts out, and we won that game. Yeah.
Oh, what a memory, innit? What a memory.
It was so good.
So through your career, mate, you've certainly found out that the sport isn't just a sport; it's a business, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I know that now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Throughout your career, you've certainly learned it. You've not been allowed not to, I suppose, and you've had probably a few chats that weren't as honest, and then you've had a lot of honest, direct chats. And I've no doubt, as a player and as a person, you appreciate the honest chats, like with Radders and that, don't you? You appreciate the honesty, but he also happened to find you an opportunity as well, didn't he? And,
no, he did. He set it up. Like, it wasn't a case of, nah, you're no use for us. It was like, he still helped. And he was like, if you ever need anything, like, let me know. I was like, I believe you. I was like, yeah, I believe you.
Right, fair enough. So how did the rugby league start go for you? And was it something you were really growing to enjoy?
Yeah. Like, when forwards and backs split in rugby union, like, that's when they're doing scrums and lineouts, battering each other, whip passing, kicking, running moves.
Early showers.
Like, yeah.
That was a killer, that, mate. Even on the amateurs, it was a killer.
But like, rugby league is just a lot of running moves. Like, for fitness, we'll play fitness touch, which is basically rugby league, not full contact. Like, get back 10. You just keep moving.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot more of it. If you want the ball, you can get it. You're always involved. There's like always an opportunity to get involved. It's quicker, and the picture always looks the same, which I really like. Rugby union, you could have 8 forwards and everyone else in 20 meters or whatever else. There's actually no space here, and I'm about to run a move into this wall. Rugby league, I'm like, this is what the picture's going to look like, and this is what we're going to run, and this is what it will always look like. It just depends on one or two people doing something different. He's either going to bite or he's going to hold off.
And that's a bit of
yeah.
So and it's mad, isn't it? Because we think the sports are so alike and so different in many ways, and they are. But how did you find the fitness different?
It's weird because I can't imagine what it's like being in the middle, but on an edge, if it's on the other side, you can catch your breath and recover a little bit. Not possible in the middle. I don't know how they do it, but like, it's weird because in union you actually run the same amount, but there's just longer breaks. I don't know if it's because there might be more kicking or whatever else, but there's more resting, and like, it's more sprint based, I think. But league is short bursts, you're running however far. The league, you're just constantly moving, which means that you're racking up those meters along. It's more of like going on a long, like a 5K jog kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like like, it doesn't matter if you're winning by a little bit or a lot. You're always you always have to keep running.
Yeah.
But union, you can kind of, if you're dominating the forwards, you kind of just walk around for a bit. You kind of set up. But
yeah. No, you can't, because the set piece is passive. So without being rude, I've grew up with both chords. The scrum in rugby league really only opens the field up. It's not there for anything else, really, is it?
The scrum's just an attacking play. Yeah, it's an opportunity. Tie people up.
It is, mate. Yeah. So you had agreed to move to Ottawa, hadn't you? And what persuaded you for that? Although we all know that it fell through because of COVID and things, but what about Ottawa got you interested?
So yeah, it was after COVID that everything kind of, stuck living at home for a bit. I wasn't really expecting it, but my agent was like, "Yeah, Ottawa could be cool." And I had a look at it. It was like, you play half the season in Ottawa, half the season over here. You'd be based in the north near, I think they were going to be based near Preston.
Yeah.
And I was like, speak French, speak English over there, which that's fine with me. I'm fluent. So I was like, that's cool. Never been to Canada. Opportunity to travel. That's another thing about rugby. It gives you the chance to travel anywhere in the world. Like that's anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Ready-made group of mates. Perfect job.
That's it, isn't it? It is many stamps on that passport, right?
Yeah. You can go anywhere, just play rugby. Yeah. That was one of them, which I didn't think I would ever get in my career. Right. That happened, and I was like, yeah, I'm keen to do that.
Another bit of me.
Yeah. So I was just excited to travel and experience something different. I was still looking for my first full season in rugby league, so I was like, yeah, it's a good chance.
Have a go, yeah. So when it all fell through and that, mate, was it a worry for you? And how was you made aware of that?
Fell through a month before pre-season.
Oh, great.
Zoom call.
Was it?
Zoom, yeah. Well, Bev, we're all over the world.
Probably dreading it then, weren't you?
No, it was a Zoom call where we thought it might happen, but when it was announced that games wouldn't be played in Canada, all the sponsors were like, well, what's in it for us? Which was completely understandable, still a business.
But that's it, we've just touched on it, and that's what you mate, isn't it? Yeah.
Still a business, and you're like, oh, yeah, fair enough, really. And then you're like, what about us? We're like, well, kind of, yeah, we're not going to do anything until next year. So they're now Cornwall Rugby League, but like it's
not Ottawa, is it?
All of a sudden, the boys are just kind of like, we need to find clubs. And pre-season starting in about 3 weeks, it was a free for all for about 22 lads.
It's mad. So, are you aware whether would lads have counted on the salary cap or not with it collapsing for a year? Because I don't know if you'll know, but there was a Welsh team, so Celtic Crusaders they were called.
Yeah.
And they had visa problems, and I think they didn't do them proper or something along them lines. And the foreign players and domestic players were allowed to sign for other clubs. And say you were part of that team and I was running witness. I said to you, Guy, here's a 3-year deal. You wouldn't count on the salary cap for them 3 years. But if you were to have re-signed, you would count on the salary. Do you get? Yeah. So do you know whether that was the case for you? Or because that would have made it easier to found the club, wouldn't it?
I don't think so. It was kind of like it never happened because it ended before it started. So it was it never physically happened. Like it was, yeah.
Just leave you hanging high and dry, that's all, doesn't it? It's could have actually finished your rugby league career. Yeah, it was it's pretty odd. So like a few boys kind of following, like happy for the boys that are picking stuff up every week. Yeah. I was back living at home with my parents.
Yeah, with my missus still, she's still by my side, following me on this journey.
A good one then, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, now my wife.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Congratulations, yeah.
Yeah, but no, had just nothing on the horizon. One of the boys I played with, Elwar Policier, was like, "Have you still not got a club?" A few boys were kind of worried about the situation and reached out to see how they could help. They spoke to their coaches wherever they were, and it was really, really nice, like more than a team.
Yeah.
Boys looking out for each other. And Elwar said there was a team in the second division in France in Elite 2 needed a fullback. And this is in this late December, start of January. Yeah, start of January, and I've just and so I've told him you can play fullback. I was like, yeah, sweet. I did it once in training.
Yeah, that you could play it, yeah.
It's still rugby. I can play it.
Yeah, that's it, mate, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up signing for a team called Villefranche-de-Rouergue, like hour and a half from Toulouse.
Right.
The week I get there, the season's on hold because of COVID. Yeah, so I trained with them 3 times over 2 months, and the season got cancelled. so then Elwar, who's at Toulouse Olympique,
yeah,
he's just like passed. He's like, I spoke to the coach about you, pass the number on. He's like, I've told him you're a good player and everything else. You just got to give him a shot. So they've agreed to give me a month trial. Once again, I'm like, here we go. we're on trial again.
I mean, you should answer the phone as well.
Yeah. No, this time there was a heads up. I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah.
So I've gone on trial for a month, and yeah, once again, you're just like, who do I need to know, and just kind of share what you can do in a really short amount of time. And they signed me for the rest of the season. So like, I kind of found something else in the end. So got a contract until November time.
Yeah.
4 weeks in, pick up an injury. I think might be a side effect of not playing rugby for a year.
Yeah,
but,
just muscle memory and stuff.
Yeah. So then I ended up having what was a mini pre-season again. Made my debut against Sheffield around June time. Broke my hand.
The same hand?
Nah, different hand. Right. Random. I got my hand caught in someone's shirt, and it just twisted, like a freak accident.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. So that for a little while longer. Then I came back just before the end of 3 weeks before the end of the season against Bradford. Got a couple of tries. Good game. We won. Happy days. Then it was end of the season, business time. Like it went the whole season unbeaten, but if you lose these knockout games, then it was a waste. It's still a business. I understand.
Yeah. You like that about rugby league, guy, or not?
What?
So do you think you're rewarded for the 20 odd rounds that you do rather than 4 games?
It's exciting. It sells tickets.
That's exactly.
Everywhere does it. Sells tickets. Might not be what's completely right for the team, like not necessarily us, but any other team that goes a whole season on, well, we've done this over a whole year, so.
And then get knocked out in the semis or something. It'd be,
yeah. But no, it sells tickets, and people love knockout rugby, so it's part of the game.
That's it. It's not word either, is it? So.
Yeah. So I didn't play for the rest of the season after that.
Right.
Had a chat with them in the off season, and they were like, "Yeah, I want you to stay." So signed on for this season again. So got a full pre-season, and yeah, actually, as it goes, picked up an injury in pre-season, missed a little bit of it. Came back 2 weeks before the Dragons game in pre-season for whatever, like a couple of injuries. They're like, "Oh, you'll play 20 minutes at the end." Played the whole game. And it kind of just kicked it off from there, and ended up starting every game up until I got injured. So I played 9 games of Super League on the bounce. That's like everything I've been working for.
Yeah. So you love it, mate, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I fractured my throat against Dragons. Yeah.
Go, mate. And that was me murdering you. Sorry.
No. Would have been 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today, I got a shoulder in the throat, and I got an injury I didn't know existed. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was you all like breathing and stuff and speaking?
I knew it got hit. My voice dropped.
Right.
And I found it a bit weird, but I just thought it was bruised.
Yeah.
I was like, who breaks a throat? That's not a thing. It is a thing. It is a thing. Serious thing. But now I played the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I did it 15 minutes again in, but I was like, I can still breathe, so it can't be that bad. That was my logic. In the heat of the game, I'm running on adrenaline and caffeine. So.
Exactly that, yeah. Logic goes out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm invincible. It's fine.
So how's culture and how you're finding Super League, and what are your ambitions this year as a club and personally?
Personally, I'm on track. Just want to play. Like I'm feeling good. It's weird because I'm still feeling good because of my throat. I can actually still train fully.
Yeah. But
I just can't play. So mentally, I'm all right because I don't feel hurt.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah. So just when I can, 6 weeks or whatever it is, just to get back playing and try and earn my spot. Earn my spot and start games because I was loving it. Super League's awesome.
Good stuff. So I don't want to put an idea in the coach's mind, mate, but if push comes to shove, would you play a second row?
Oh, don't do that. It nearly happened against Dragons.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's not too dissimilar, is it? It's literally just a slot inside defensively and attackively. But
you're making a bit more tackles though. Andrew Dixon, he mentioned, was it last week or whatever, made 45 tackles, and I was like, we're doubling the personal best there.
Know what you need to do, mate? Run in fourth man and just stick it on the tally.
As I said, it's all rugby, which is how I ended up in league and moving in one spot. Like, he's already thought about it, so I think it's only a matter of time. But I would obviously. Yeah, he's like, oh, do you mind playing left centre, right centre? I'm like, put me on the pitch. If the option is not playing or playing, then put me on the pitch and I'll play rugby.
No, that's exactly it, mate. And because fundamentally is whether you're getting paid or not, whether you're at the level you're at or you're at grassroots, the first thing we play for is because we love it, isn't it? And fair play. So, a couple of daft questions, mate, if that's okay. So, any pre-match superstitions?
No, just my day before pasta, chorizo chicken, which after 12 years I've perfected. Just my pre-match meal.
Yeah, right. So your toughest player you've played with and against in either code?
With Chris Hallowfield, Tongan number 8.
Yeah.
He got red cards for legal tackles.
Yeah.
That kind of
stuff.
Chop it. Yeah. Hit them right in the midriff. Yeah. What's the red card for? Just too much power. I'm like, well, that's not his fault, is it?
Oh, bad fish its mouth.
Yeah.
So, and who against?
Against played against Manu Tuolangi. He's just a concrete block. Yeah. He's just a hard man.
And he blocks it,
Yeah.
So your favourite away ground, guy?
Played played in a few. Twickenham was like, yeah, Twickenham.
Yeah.
Played in the double header against Saracens when I was 20. That was awesome. Yeah.
So if you're out for a few beers, mate, with the boys, and the microphone ends up in your hand, what are you giving us?
Actually, my weekend away actually gave Mario "Let Me Love You."
Yeah, smooth, mate. Are you doing a 1-2 step, or are you just bowing in?
Always a 1-2. 1-2. That's where you live. Yeah.
So I'll leave this bit to you. So you can either do a 1, because you can do a 1 to 15, you can do a 1 to 13, or if you want a hybrid, league players into union or vice versa, pick your ultimate dream team of people you've played with.
I think I've probably got more to go in on 15.
Right. You start where you want to start, mate, and tell me a little bit about why you've picked them.
Who we got? So prop, you got Halani Olika. He was, but the season I played with him, he was leading try scorer. He was obviously scoring from anywhere, making breaks 20 meters out. It was unheard of. He was a double figures, just, you kind of knew he was going to score every week.
Fair enough.
And he'd do it laughing as well. It was, David Pace, Aussie. Just naturally gifted bloke. My brother's told me a story of when he actually came on trial at London Irish, when he turned up in flip-flops with no boots.
Class, as you do.
Yeah, ended up having an awesome career, and just just a bloke you can rely on. Mako Vinopola. Yeah. Other prop. He is who he is. Yeah. He's just kind of solid bloke. Great at rugby. Joe Launchbury. Yeah, he just kind of be quiet bloke, but absolute workhorse. But he just looks like he's been battered after every game. But you've not really seen him. You're like, where have you been? He's been in the dark places.
I was going to say, doing the dark arts, yeah.
He's been in the engine room, making sure the team's working.
Fair play to him.
Yeah. Other second row, James Gaskell.
Yeah.
He was at Sale. My youngest cap, I think I made him club captain at 19, and still going now. Is just great bloke, great skills, just really clever bloke. Yeah. Geordie Reid.
Yeah.
Played with him at Ealing. He's got told he's coming over. Just kind of like, all right, run through a brick wall for you.
Yeah, and he looks like he looks well, yeah.
Yeah, he's now at Gloucester. He's earned his shot. He had a season in the champ. Out he went. He was just he was class. He gave it his all, and he's awesome. Yeah. Put my brother in 7, Stefan.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, you can have that. He's just world class at what he does. Yeah.
Owes you €10 now for the mention.
Should be. at least a coffee or dinner or something. Chris Hallis here. Yeah, as I mentioned, most dangerous bloke I've ever played with.
And if you don't know him, YouTube him and you'll realise how dangerous he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got yellows, reds, just for normal stuff. Some stuff he earned, but he was just
monster.
Yeah, a human weapon.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. At 9, I got Dan Robson.
Yeah.
It was just he just changed the pace of the game. He'd just be on his terms. Class at touch rugby, and he brought it into Union because no one could catch him. So, yeah, he was just everywhere.
Yeah.
Fly off, I got Danny Cipriani. He was class. Naturally gifted bloke. He just made the game look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. One wing I got Selassie Takitaki Bell. Smart winger.
Well said as well, that.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. He was, look at his highlights. His highlights were a joke.
Yeah.
he was pace and power. Like, he was actually unplayable on his day. He was unbelievable. Kyle Eastman at 12.
Yeah.
Like I said, the man was just a genius. Made the game look easy and just like really helpful, open to teaching and sharing all of his knowledge. So he was great.
Yeah.
13. I've got Elliot Daly. I put Curtly Beale there as well because,
yeah,
they both could play everywhere. So both could play everywhere. Reliable, solid, talented, pace. Like, they just, as you can see, the guys you put in your squad.
That's it, mate.
Yeah. Other wing, Christian Wade, who took his retirement, nearly breaking the Premiership scoring record in half a career.
I know. Good luck to him. Like, it seems like it might pay off, but
absolutely just like naturally gifted, but he also worked hard. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was just box office.
Right.
He's a human highlight reel.
Yeah.
Then at fullback, I'm looking for another coffee or dinner, but my brother Dylan.
You picked yourself on the wing, captain, kicker. Oh.
Nah, it was safe as houses at the back. It was you got a good goalkeeper. You're like, ball goes up, it's fine.
Oh, he was. He was a freak in the air, wasn't he?
Yeah, freak in the air, massive boot, kick a penalty from 60 metres out. Yeah. One of those players that make you think about giving a penalty because you're giving away 3 points.
That's it.
Yeah. He was class. But yeah, that's my 15.